Dr. Life, in the business of saving lives, out here in what I call the wildlife sanctuary. Out here, the next generation, we're getting it in. That one right there, these are my models. It's my little models. My little models, you know. Master said we created in his image, gave us the ability to procreate. It's mini me right there, and that's mini queen right there. Call her predestined beauty, and I call him Just You Run. That's right. Mystery, Just You Run. Just You Run means the upright one. There's power in the name. Power in life and death is in the tongue. Take these names for granted. But this is a wildlife sanctuary. It's a wildlife sanctuary all throughout my generation. One of my partners, E.T., always talked about breaking cycles. Breaking cycles. And I've been one not to talk about it, but be about it. So I took the challenge, and now we make cycles. We went from breaking cycles to making cycles. This is a whole new cycle right here. It's a whole new cycle of life. On TV, when they show them to you, they hit y'all with the Doc McStuffin still photography for them. Doc McStuffin still photography. That's right. They only show y'all the big book of boo-boos for them. Every time you see them, it's a big book of boo-boos. That's Doc McStuffins. You know what I'm saying? Every time something happens, she go get the big book of boo-boos. Right? Y'all know the story, y'all millennials. Y'all homeland generation. That's their generation. The homeland generation. It's a big book of boo-boos. But it ain't just start. My generation was the first generation of the big book of boo-boos. Right? They hit us with the Willie Horton ad. Right? President Bush made us out to be the boogie monster. Willie Horton, the big book of boo-boos. All throughout history, that's what we've been. Blackface, history in America. Big book of boo-boos. That's all it's been. Still photography. Then come back with Hollywood, and they show y'all, they whitewash everything. We're in the motion pictures, the Hollywood motion pictures, but they hit us. They tell our story in the big book of boo-boos, the Doc McStuffins. Right? The problem with the big book of boo-boos is still photography. Still photography is always left up into interpretation. You could take a snapshot and look at a picture, and you could see one thing, and it might look like I'm abusing my son. I might have my hand up. Might look like I'm abusing him, beating him to death. I might just be going up the block and shot. You know what I'm saying? But when you take still photography and take a snapshot, it's left up to your interpretation. And they've been telling our story in the big book of boo-boos in the still photography. That's why me and my house, we came out with Hollywood Pictures, Hollywood Studios. It's the last motion picture standing. We telling our story, the real story, our real history. That's what our real history is. A wildlife sanctuary is where we come from the time when we born to the time when we say I do. Right? Our ancestors always had a rites of passage. And before we started procreating, we were designed to recreate. That's right. God gave my ancestors, Adam and Eve, nobody else, my ancestors, Adam and Eve, dominion. And he said, be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth. Replenish. What does replenish mean? Replenish means keep doing it over and over, keep making it new, making it new. So until you got to manhood and womanhood and found your soulmate and said I do and started procreating, we was taught through our rites of passage system on wildlife sanctuaries. Wildlife sanctuaries was the areas where mothers and fathers created the safe haven and shielded the vulnerable from the attacks. A wildlife sanctuary is just that, right? So in the wildlife sanctuary, the safe haven that mothers and fathers create, yes, they're going to be poachers. They're going to be individuals who want to attack and hunt these young people. The European capitalistic system is nothing but hunters trained and designed to hunt and poach them. That's what they do. It's a black market. The black market, and it's a blood economy. You know, they talk about